Good morning everyone, Gajan here for Henry's Calling the Shot. In this video, we're gonna talk about how you light yourself for video. Whether it's beauty vlogs, unboxings, or reaction videos, how do you use light to elevate your content? Having shot a ton of content for YouTube myself, I know that lighting can be tricky and even frustrating at times. That's why in this video, we're gonna talk about 3 techniques. The first, one light and how to get a pleasing look for your viewers. Second, we're gonna add another light to create more depth for your content. And we're gonna end off with a third light in the scene to create a real cinematic look. In this video, we're gonna be working with the Fuji X-T3 with a 16 to 55 f2.8 lens. We're gonna monitor ourselves with the Ninja Atomos 5, and we're gonna have the camera on a Joby GorillaPod 5K. For lighting, we're gonna be using 2 Aperture MX lights and an Aperture 120D. Now that we've covered the gear, let's get this started. For our first setup, we're working with a single light. Whether you're reviewing Hatchimals or making demands for a new season of Game of Thrones, a single light setup is really easy to use. In this case, I have the Aperture MX set up right on top of the camera. If you're a beauty vlogger, you might want to use a ring light to get that nice even light on your face. I have the monitor to the side right now to see what I look like and ensure that I'm in frame. And importantly, I have the white balance set to match my light source. Make sure that you're in manual focus so that your nose, eyes, ears are all in focus and your camera is not hunting while you're recording your footage. Now this is a pretty simple setup. Let's move on to something a little bit more complex. For our second setup, we're working with 2 lights now. The Aperture 120D with the softbox on is gonna shower this environment with plenty of light. It's gonna be our key light in this frame. We also have the Aperture MX as a rim light, and overall creates more depth to the footage. Some interesting shadows. This is with the light on, and this is with it off. And on again, and off, and on again. For our first setup you can use for a lot of types of videos, this one is just more interesting. It creates character, more depth, interesting shadows, and overall a cooler, edgier look that you can use to amp up your footage. Now that this is done, let's see if we can ramp up the difficulty and create something even more cinematic. For this last setup, we're gonna take it up to 11. Actually, we're gonna take it to 3, which is still a prime number. This is your staple 3 light setup. I have my key light up a little bit higher to create this interesting catch light in my eye. Now with this alone, it does create a bit of shadow. So I have my fill light in front of me to the right to fill in those shadows. I still have this edge light to the side here to create this interesting backlight right behind my head. If you're looking at these light sources, our key light is at full power. We have the edge light to match this one here, and our fill light is half the power of our key light. So where we started with a single light in front of me, we now graduated to 3 lights in key positions to create this real cinematic look, something that's gonna stand out for your viewers. We intentionally shot in this small space to mimic an environment that you might find yourself in, but with the right lights in the right positions, you're gonna create a setup that really elevates your content. So there you go. Now you have several techniques on how you can light your videos. And even though you might not have all the lights that we talked about here today, if a window or direct sunlight is your main key light, you can still use the same techniques with the one light that you do have to add more depth to your content. The gear that we used here today was the Fuji X-T3 60 to 55 lens and the Ninja Atomos 5, all of which was mounted on the Joby GorillaPod 5K. To light, we had 2 Aperture MX lights and the Aperture 120D. Don't worry, you can find all of this at henrys.com. The links are in the description. And before you go, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you know when a new video comes out. And if you have any interesting techniques, let me know in the comments below. I'm Gajan, this was Henry's Calling the Shot, and we'll see you next time.